2023, Ma, you went into cardiac arrest.
I knew I wasn't in my body. It's almost like you close your eyes, but you're dreaming it, but you're really there. I remember the being here was Dad. It was very clear, you have to go back.
To watch you re-grieve multiple times. Your parents, your dad was just... The difference between this episode and the first time, we didn't drink.
That's right. We had an early morning drink. We had our hot tea toddies.
That was just hot tea without the toddy.
That's right.
But Ma...
No, it was with the toddy. We had
This, no, not today.
I have no, not today.
Yeah, last time. We opened the bar when they weren't even open.
No, we needed that hot tea toddy.
Anyway, we're loose. This is your third time back on the show.
Yeah,
so
wow.
You've done this before. You're a professional.
Yeah, and I'm getting older and older, and he's seen.
Yeah, so are we. So am I. And we got a special guest hiding in the background that you guys are going to meet shortly. Even though I've been stressing about how to have too much conversation about how to introduce you over there. But we're gonna get to that part. I've been saying the same thing, how to introduce them since the start of the show. But now that you're here, I'm like, how do they do it?
I don't know.
This is not going to make sense for anyone that's with no context right now. But Ma, welcome back.
Thank you. It's so good to be back.
It's always good to have you anywhere near me. So I'm happy to have you on the show. People that
Same here, Mommy.
Same people that have been on, that have listened to your episodes, have been calling for you. This is going to be a little bit of a different discussion from our past podcasts. With last time we spoke, it was about Dad and our family experience. But in 2023, for those of you that don't know, which I'm sure a lot of you don't know, Ma, you went into cardiac arrest, and I'm obviously going to get your perspective from that whole experience, but you had an experience, a near-death experience, if you will, and it was quite profound. We're going to try to, give you as many details as possible, but before we do get into that, I want to kind of set it up. Is that cool with you?
Yeah.
All right. So just so you guys know where I was at, and then we're going to kind of roll along with the story. I was flying to Europe at that time, and I decided to pay for a very cheap flight that didn't have Wi-Fi. And on the way there, I obviously landed after a great flight with some dude I made friends with, turned on my phone, and that's when I had the messages. I don't know how much you even remember of the details of my
I remember you leaving. I remember going to bed. I remember the evening part.
The evening part,
and
right.
The day, but yeah.
But I mean, I turned on my phone, that's when I had the messages from Jacqueline and Gina. And the fact that I was getting bombarded from Jacqueline messaging me, Gina messaging me, and Gina messaged me on WhatsApp, which is another messaging app that she's never messaged me on. So it all kind of hit me. I was like, oh, this is, I don't know what it is, but it's not good. It's one of those moments where you just know something, I'm getting some bad news. So I called Jacqueline, my oldest sister, and that's when she told me for the first time. She's like, listen, David, she was calm, and she said, David, Mom went into cardiac arrest. Her heart stopped. She made it to the hospital, but you got to come home. And I'll never forget that moment for obvious reasons, but I do remember just kind of like leaning forward. I think I might have put my hand on my forehead and just paused for a second, digested it, and then I said, okay, I'll get whatever the next flight is, I'm there. And I was on the plane. And I remember just sitting there thinking to myself, I was just like, this can't be it. This isn't it. Like this isn't it. There's no way. There's no, I felt it so strongly. And I was like so confident, but then, the other side of my brain just kind of playing like the tennis back and forth. I was saying, but it could be, you know what I mean? It was like that feeling of not believing it was your time to go, but also just the thought process, I could be wrong. But then after I had that natural response of just going back and forth and playing that ping pong, I was like, okay, that's not where my head's got to be right now. It's not going to do anything besides this powerful thought and prayer, yada yada. It's like, okay, what's next, kind of thing, kind of how you raised me in many ways. Like, what do we got to do? And to skip a lot of the details because I don't want to make it about my experience as much as a part of it I got off the plane, booked the next flight. It was a couple hours later, had to go into London, wait for a few hours for the next flight, take another train, and I finally made it home. Just kind of to refresh your memory as well, because you obviously don't know what happened.
I don't know the details.
And so I landed back in Jersey probably like midnight after flying from L.A. to Jersey to London, London back to Jersey. And poor Jacqueline was waiting up for me. You guys, Ken and my other sister were getting some rest finally after what they went through, and Ken's going to share his story shortly. And Jacqueline, Jacqueline was waiting for me to get up because the nurses were going to give me permission to come see you, like past hours, to come see you for the first time. And I get in the Uber. Jacqueline was waiting for me again. I pull into your condo, and just as soon as I get out of the Uber, Jacqueline was outside apparently waiting for me. I must have like drove right by her. She's like, "What the hell are you doing? You drove right by me." She took me to the hospital, and again, skipping some details, that was the first time I saw you, and you were. I mean, you were in the ICU and a breathing tube, and just that was besides everything else leading up to that, which is a weird part, was the anticipation of this out, half a day waiting to get there, seeing you for the first time, and that was it was a lot, and especially being there with Jacqueline and having the conversation with the nurse, just looking at you, not sure what was going to happen, trying to remain calm, and just it was one of those things where it was just one step at a time, because like, what am I going to do? Let's just see. It was very like stay positive, but let's not panic until we have to panic. As horrific as it was to see, and that's when the nurse told me you guys had a decision to put you on DNR, do not resuscitate. Me and Jacqueline, what the fuck? What? And then the nurse said, "Well, listen, she's young, she's in shape, if it was my mom, I would override it." And then we had to have that conversation. So before I get into your experience, because obviously I've been talking too much, I just wanted to set it up.
Never mind.
I mean, do you remember any of that, first of all?
No.
Not any of that, but I mean, do you remember that part of the storytelling of what I just explained to you? Like, I don't know how much we ever really spoke about that.
Explain what you're just saying
Yeah,
now?
did
No.
you know
No, I never heard. This is your first time I'm hearing your full story from the time you were on the plane to getting to see me. But no.
Yeah, I know
no.
that's.
I have stories from, they're kind of broken up.
Yeah, and so again, I'm setting it up a lot longer than I expected. But before we get into your experience, I think it's important just to hear all this perspective that you're not going to remember. We haven't really gone into detail.
Yeah.
Now we're going forwards and backwards in time, but Ken, my mom's husband, partner, best friend, however you want to call it.
21 years.
21 years. In my head, you
21
guys are a husband and wife, but that's a whole other thing. So Ken, another second father to me, has been around forever. He was there that night. He was right beside my mom, for those of you listening. So he was courageous enough to share that experience. So my God, I'm keeping you on ice right now before we get to your story. Ken, I would love for you to explain that night, because that was obviously you were beside her and had to go through that entire traumatic experience.
Okay.
So get yourself comfortable. You're on the stool there.
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah,
I'm
so
good.
Ken, welcome. Get the mic in front of you, because your voice isn't that strong.
No. Oh, thanks.
I'm just
Yeah.
kidding.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. All right. So it started for me. I woke up at 12:30 at night, and I noticed.
keep the mic like
and I
that.
noticed that your mom wasn't in bed with me. So I got up and I went looking for her. She's the other end of the house, which I didn't think anything of it. I just thought she couldn't sleep. So I sat next to her, and then she mentioned that she had
Flutters.
flutters in her heart and everything. And we talked for like 5 minutes, and then we talked about maybe her going to see her doctor a little sooner than she thought. So she was comfortable, and then we went back to bed. And then at 1:30 in the morning, an hour later, all of a sudden I hear a loud noise. So, it sounded like a snore or something. I knew it was coming from her, but it sounded serious. I ran around to the other side. It turned out to be her last breath. So I held her, and I was screaming in her face, "Rosanna, Rosanna." And she all of a sudden, she just collapsed. It was her last breath. And I ran for the phone. I called 911, and they said, get her on the floor and start doing CPR, which is what I did. And they were there in like 6 minutes. The tense part for me was that the cop pulled me out of the room, and I'm listening to them shocking her, and they didn't get a heartbeat right away. Then eventually, a little while later, they got a heartbeat, and then they took her right past me and everything. And then I had to call your sisters to let them know what was going on. I got Gina, and then she met me at the hospital, and then Jacqueline a little bit later. But your mom, they weren't going to guarantee she was going to make it or anything. So,
What did they tell you? Like, once they got her heartbeat going, they just said go to the hospital. Did they give you any idea of how she was? Or what was
no,
gonna happen?
we kept on saying she's going to be okay. So we don't know right now. We have to run a bunch of tests and everything like that. So, so we were all up in the air, and she wasn't at her best at the time. She was unconscious and all. So, it was a really, really tough time.
Yeah, and that was the one thing that obviously a lot is to follow, which a lot of you guys are going to hear shortly. But that's something that obviously always sat with me, because you were the one that had to You were there.
Well, that was one of the painful things for me also was that as soon as they took her out, because the hospital's 6 minutes away, so I was going to fly there, but I had to tell your sisters. I wanted them to be there in case it's the last time that they saw their mother and everything. So that was tough. So I had to make that tough phone call and all. So.
And I mean, I thank you for sharing that, because I know that's one thing that I'm sure you still carry with you, and I've always it's traumatic. And even I remember you even telling me maybe even still. Just sleeping next to my mom now, you had trouble sleeping because you think every little noise she made was exactly what you already went through.
That still goes on to this day. All of a sudden I'll wake up and I could hear breathing, and then all of a sudden when I can't sleep, then I don't hear any breathing. So now I'm peeking over the side. A few times she's popped up. She goes, "What's the matter?" Like that. So, just trying to see if you're still with us. That's all.
Just making sure you're alive.
Yeah. Nothing more than that.
That sounds accurate.
Yeah,
Again, thank you for sharing that. And it's such, besides people getting the full story of exactly what's happened, because again, you obviously have no idea what was happening at this point. It's obviously the whole process of what her children had to go through and you still had to go through. Being there for the moment is just a totally different weight that is obviously considered, but it kind of gets, I don't want to say forgot. Like, I never forgot it, and I don't think any of our family has. We all are very aware of what you had to do, and you essentially saved her life because you were doing CPR on her. And without the CPR, who knows if she would have even came back. So without you there, like when you saved my mom's life.
Well, I like to say that I saved 2 lives because I wouldn't have been right after this. I mean, you go through something like that. I mean, I would have been closing every bar in Long Branch for, until I wasn't around. I mean, I just wouldn't have been the same ever again, going through that. Because you always say, well, maybe I could have, whatever, and everything. But I wouldn't have been right. So that's how I look at it.
Well, I'm more grateful for you in other ways that we don't have a long enough podcast to express. But again, thank you for not just being there, but just also you carrying that burden that you still have to, I'm sure, work through. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and we're grateful that my mom's still here, but it's even with that,
Yeah.
still an experience that's always going to live with you.
I mean, as this was going on, when I was doing CPR, what was going through my mind was that I cannot believe this is happening. I mean, a life is in my hands. Never mind the love of my life is in my hands right now. It's just like the strangest thing. So.
And that's something you still carry with you.
Yeah,
right?
I do. It'll run through your mind, and I just kind of like shake it off and everything. I don't want to go there because it's just a tough story. But the end result turned out great. So
yeah, and spoiler alert, my mom's still with us.
Yeah,
You guys haven't noticed, but I appreciate sharing that, and that's an important part of the story, obviously, to set it up beyond from my perspective, because I didn't know what the heck was going on until I didn't know it. I don't know. Remember the first time you told me that story? If it was in the ICU, I'm sure you caught me up.
Yeah.
But that's where we're gonna get. So my mom's been silent this whole time. Who would have thought? So, Ma, I do want to get. I think it's your time to shed some light.
I know, I'm
Okay.
not very
Ken,
quiet.
thank you.
Okay.
I love you.
I love you too.
Thank you.
Okay.
I've been trying to get Ken to say some things in general on this podcast. You finally got him. I'm so excited. Thank you, Ken. No, I know that's a hard thing to talk about, so I really appreciate you. Okay, so the story is as about as set up as possible right now. Before we can get into more details of things that you're not going to remember, but you said the first thing you remember was on Ken's birthday, ironically, when you were already out of the hospital. But
I think I was home already 4 days.
Yeah, so you don't remember. You had a whole blank spot.
I don't remember anything except for that day.
Yeah, what do you remember from your? Tell us about your experience?
Well, I just remember we were talking. I don't know. I think it was my friend Maureen that was there visiting me for lunch, and I think you were home. You were still home with me. Yeah, you were still over. I have to remember that.
No, I'm talking about the near-death. That's what
I'm getting at. Is when I remembered. Only it was that day. And then it started coming to me. Oh, wait a minute! I remember being in I remember. It's almost like you close your eyes, but you're dreaming it, but you're really there. You weren't in a body. And I just remember looking. I didn't even have to look down and look around. It was just, I knew I wasn't in my body, and I didn't float anywhere. But it was just such a giddy. I was in such a because all to my right, and it's funny because every time I talk about it, I have to actually see, and they were beings, but they weren't in bodies. But there was one, but I knew there was one being that really stood out the most was Grandpa John, and he.
Push you a little closer there.
Yeah, was Grandpa John, and I remember I just remember him looking towards me, and gave me this. I had this aura of so much love, and he was like smiling. And I was like, oh my God. And I was like, holy cow, this is like, I couldn't believe it. I was like, and I'm looking further and I'm going, I see other beings. Then I started to see more, but they weren't, you couldn't identify. I mean, I kind of knew who they were. I remember the aunts and their mommy, my mother. And then I was like, wow. And I remember the being here was Dad. And I remember him was very clear, you have to go back. And I realized, wait a minute, I go back. I says, I'm looking for my mother-in-law. Don't even ask me why. But this is how funny I felt. I felt like, holy cow, this is like amazing. And I kept looking at my father turned to me again, and I seen kind of more of the beings there, and I was like I didn't even have to say anything to him. It was just, you just knew, you just know. And I knew where I was just, I never even thought about going back. I didn't know what going back was at the moment when he said that to me. I was like, what? And then while I had the little short moment that he allowed me to stay, I saw another being to my left, and in my mind I'm going, he's very quiet. It's very quiet. He's not making a big fuss. And then it dawned on me, Tommy, that's Tommy, because he had just passed.
Your brother, just to clarify, yeah.
In November the following year. Well, that was year. It wasn't even a year yet. And then I went, wow. And I was just such feeling of just being in a wonderful presence of everyone, but you couldn't see them because they weren't in bodies. It's not that I don't see them. You just know. It's just, and all I felt was love and happiness and peace. It was such a peace. I never even thought about my kids, my grandkids. I can't, nobody. It was just like, I just wanted to stay there. It was just, and I knew there was, now in hindsight, when I think back about the story as I'm talking to you now, I'm sure it would have been so much more. But I guess they were resuscitating me and trying to get me back. And then Dave said one more time, he said, you got to go back. And the second he said that, that was it. I have no recollection of anything other than that day of telling you the story of where I was and where I went. And then we started calculating, okay, 8 minutes, 10 minutes, I wasn't breathing. If he wasn't giving me breath, I wouldn't have been here today, without a doubt. I didn't realize now that people with cardiac arrest don't usually survive unless they have a CPR done to them. And like I said, it can save my life. It's like, holy cow. And it took me, in the days after that, I did a lot of crying. I did a lot of why, what am I supposed to be doing then? Why did I come back? Like there were questions I was asking. And then I felt terrible. I think the most painful thing for me was what he went through to survive me. That's a trauma in itself. And what you kids had to go through to see me that way and what I was going through. And that was the upset for me. It took me a good 5 months to recover from that thought of how bad I felt that all of you had to go through that horrific feel, whether I was going to live or die. And, you know, after losing your dad and Ken going through his it was just terrible. It was just terrible. But, yeah, then you were there. You were there for a while. There was a time I said, "Oh, Dave, you got to go home now."
Well, yeah, after that's the aftermath.
You had to go.
So.
But, yeah, and I'm just always grateful, though. I do look up and say thank you, but I know there's a lesson to be learned from this. And I guess I was struggling with, okay, what am I supposed to be doing?
Yeah,
you know, Ken and I do a lot of that talking, but I know I'm here for a reason, for whatever that reason is, but...
Yeah, I mean, me and Ken can give you 1,000 reasons of why you're still here, but the rest you got to figure out.
Exactly.
Yeah, you know, I want to, again, I know you don't remember a lot, but when you finally came out of it in the ICU, excuse me, you...
That's what you have to tell me because I don't remember anything.
Well, I mean, it ties into everything you just said, and I have more questions about your experience I want to ask, but just to like validify a little bit of how Ken, me, Gina, and Jacqueline all around you in the ICU felt, you know, you can't, when you were finally conscious, even though you were freshly out of this experience, and obviously you had a lot of stuff in your system, you were, ironically, as you explained it in your story, you said you were giddy and just this and that. You were kind of like, I felt like you were, when you came out, you were like that. You were like the most light I've ever seen you, like messing around still. You're talking, your voice was raspy from the breathing too, but you were like very giddy, and it was almost like interesting. Like, oh my gosh, she's like hilarious. You're always funny, but it was like something about you that felt was giddy, exactly as you explained it.
Yeah.
So as Ken and I were talking, it felt like you were kind of between two worlds, as you said. And as soon as you came out of the ICU, obviously we were grateful and just kind of collecting our breath. Okay, she's got a long way to go. We don't know how you're going to feel afterwards, or your memory, or yada yada, but she's here. And then you immediately said at some point, "Where's John?" And I'm like, "John?" It's like, "Grandpa John. Where's Grandpa John?" And for anyone listening, that's, as you mentioned, your father, who I never met. We looked at each other, like, "Oh, she thinks Grandpa John's still alive?" And you kind of tried explaining that you were you were all tied up in your gown on the bed, and you somehow thought that you were in the hospital for Grandpa John, which is funny in itself, but like you're still figuring it out. And we looked at each other like, "Oh my God, she thinks her dad's still alive." And we kind of had to take our time with it, and immediately we all looked at each other like, "Oh no, you had to." It was like she had an experience. This isn't just like hallucination. I feel like she must have saw Grandpa John. She must have had this experience as you just explained it.
Yeah.
And we had to get the nurse to explain, because you were about to get out of the. You're about to rip the wires out and be like, "No, I'm going to go find Grandpa John." I went to the nurse. I said, "Hey, like my mom thinks her grandpa's still alive. He died in 1988. He's not in the hospital. I don't know what to tell her, but can you just like play along and tell her like John Romano's not here?" And then without getting into it so much, we had to take the time to kind of kneel down beside you and explain, "Listen, Mom, like I was trying to explain to, like, I was born in 1989. However I said it, I never met Grandpa John." Trying to slowly. And obviously, we had the decision: do we just play along? But I don't know. Like, we can't just play along. Yeah, he's around. He's around. Like we just told you. We didn't. What were we going to do? I didn't know what to do. And so we explained how. Yeah, no. Do you remember Brooklyn? This or that? And we slowly kind of spoon fed it to you, and you started remembering. Oh, I remember the hospital. And then you started just hysterically crying as if you just found out your father just died for the first time. It was like we just watched you like re-grieve this new, even though you had memories. But then you were like, "How come no one told me?" And it was just a very confusing time. And again, parlay with your story saying that you saw your father, it's like, oh no, I think she's dancing between here and there right now, and she felt like you just saw your father.
Oh my God, yeah, that had to be it, because he was the most prominent one of all, aside from your father, because I didn't see. Your father's presence was very strong, and his voice was so clear, and Grandpa John was just so there. They were all so real. Him the most was prominent. Like I said, I felt that it was just like he was hugging me and so happy I was there. And I never even thought about death. When I think about it, I never thought like, well, he's dead. Why could I see him? Nothing. It was that no, I've learned that we're not really gone. We are gone from this earth, yes, being whatever you want to call it, but it's so much more out there. Oh my God, that they're always here. We are part of them. We're such a strong part of everyone. You know, it just blows me away.
And when you said the voice, because was it like your own voice? Because you said you're not seeing anyone. I know you explained it multiple times, but like it was just a knowing.
No mouth moving, talking, no. It wasn't like that. It was solely in the mind, the spirit. It was not even your brain. It was so beyond that. It was just a knowing. You didn't even have to talk, but yet his voice was so loud and clear in my worst ear that I heard so clear, and they're like, "What? Like really? What? I've got to go back. Like back? I couldn't understand that. It just didn't make sense to me." So I never thought for 1 second I'm dead. No, I felt like I felt so alive.
Did it feel like it was like you've been there before?
It felt maybe I never thought of it that way. I felt like I belonged there.
Right.
I felt such a connection of this is where we're supposed to be. I'm supposed to be. This is whatever this is. These beings are being. I just felt such a connection of oneness. Even though as you're dissecting it, well, I know my mom's in there. I know Xanthonet's there. For some reason, those two. And I know there was so many more. And then Tom popped up. It was like, and sometimes I wish I had a little more time. And I wonder how far I would have gone to really would have really blown me away. If I would have said, bye, not coming back. You know, I may not have come back.
Might not have come back.
But I tell you, I don't fear death. I always feared how I was going to die. I think that was my fear. But I don't fear death. I always feared, how am I going to die? But I remember going to sleep, reading, and that was it. So I never felt the experience of not being able to catch my breath. I don't remember the heart hurting or overbeating or nothing. I don't have any of that experience of memory of that, other than being home. Went to sleep, been home on his birthday, and that was it. I lost so much time. And that baffled me because I used to talk to the doctors over and over, why did I lose my memory? And I lost my hearing more on my left ear. And I was told that the cardiac arrest could do that. But they don't have answers. They just don't have answers. I just believe that this had to happen for whatever reason for me to experience it, to do what I need to do here from that experience. And I'm still trying to figure that one out.
Well, that's the bizarre part. Unless I missed out on the memo, they never gave us, this is why it happened.
They don't have a reason.
Isn't that the crazy part?
No.
They never say, you did this, you did that. They didn't have an answer. That's like, what?
There was nothing wrong with me. My heart was clear, no cardiac. I didn't have, I was in very good shape. I had nothing, there was I wasn't on any medication, no blood pressure, cholesterol, nothing on any of that. I exercised daily, I ate good. So you wonder, wow, you do all these damn good things and you wind up dying anyway. So what the frig? I might as well just drink, be merry, and the hell with everything.
Honestly, that's the joke we have. Like, wow, look at all those supplements. You work out, you're biking 10 miles. I work out,
biking 15 miles and running, all that. And I get that. I get this. But I came back, thank God for Ken, because I would have not have come back. And I think I would have been a very sad soul because I'm feeling so bad what I did to everybody that I loved.
I don't know if you would have been. You were over there
I may have been too happy. I said, they'll get over it. I'll be saying, they'll get over it. Don't worry. We all survive.
That's how I feel. Whatever's left behind, we're the ones that we got to deal with
the most.
Yeah, that's what I see
But you don't. Now I could say so clearly, we don't. We are in a very wonderful, I know it's going to be a beautiful place to go to. And you're not going to be, it's just those behind, but those behind have to know that you're going to be there too. So just make the best of it. Yes, hold on to the fun, the good and not the bad. And just be happy. But take one day at a time. That's it.
Yeah, and I know you mentioned it a second ago, but I know for a while you struggled with the forgetting. Like you got very frustrated not remembering.
Yeah, it was very frustrating. I was concerned with all the crap that they put in me. I know they have to survive me. They got to inject me, whatever Tom, Dick, and Harry's shit that they give you, excuse my French. But I was blown away.
But it's interesting. I was thinking about it not only when every time you would bring up the forgetfulness, which you just went through an incredibly traumatic experience. So to me, not being a doctor and knowing shit, it makes sense that you're not going to remember that.
But they don't know shit either. So.
Clearly, yeah, they don't even give it. That's still so wild to me. That's why when you start going down that rabbit hole of, some people don't like talking about this, but we have this conversation like, yeah, I think like you went through this experience. Maybe there's no reason, but I think there is, and then that's a whole nother sort of pressure that I feel like I sometimes get a vibe from you, like. But why? And like, what am I supposed to be doing here? And sometimes it's like as simple as you're still a mother to me. You're still with Ken, and like that, like more than your reason is our need for you. You know what I mean? Like your existence is enough of a reason where it adds to your life and what you need, how you can continue with your life and where you go from there. Yeah, not
I believe that. No. No, but it makes sense though. In other words, I think it does make sense. I don't have to be here to do something. It's not about doing something. Sometimes I have it and I got the words and it just can't come out.
Yeah, but also it's like I know I just diverted it to, our family. That says we want you for as long as possible and vice versa. But part of it, like when we were all talking, we're like, hope's a weird word in this case, but it was, we would love if she, when she comes out of this, okay, what you have, she just make it about you more. Like, you worry about so many other people outside of yourself. You care for everyone, where it's like, you answer this in some ways, like, but what is she doing for herself? Like, I know you take care of you're healthy, you do physical stuff, deeper. Like, what are you doing for yourself? And that was one thing me and the girls and even Ken, we were talking along the time. Maybe this could help her. Just kind of like, okay, I had this experience. However, you got to go through it yourself. It's not up to us to define your experience. That's on you. But at the same time, like, okay, maybe she can just take a breath. Maybe she sit a little longer and not have to run around the kitchen and do your thing. Like, hey, but that's good too. Like, keeps you busy. Your brain's going to be here forever because you're constantly doing things. It's marvelous. But at the same time, like, it was more of a worry of concern or thought that I hope she can just we're good. As much as I said we need you, your children are grown. We're good. We're good. We're gonna be good. We can handle ourselves.
Yes,
where it's like,
of course. I know that.
Mother needs. You need to look at. You guys have your relationship. Take care of yourselves, kind of thing. But look after yourself. It's like maybe this experience will jolt you a little bit. No pun intended. To like,
think about
see, like, maybe
where I need to be spiritually and emotionally. It's really not so much physical. It's more spiritual and how to deal with where you are now and being in this. Where I am now. But I have to have that peace. I have to find that peace. And I have a lot in many ways, but I know there's always each day I practice more and more to just be, right now it's all that matters. Mm-hmm. Forget about tomorrow, the past doesn't even exist.
It's this, you and me right now.
It's just you and me right now. And of course, Ken.
Of course.
But it's so true. But it's a battle. And I remember a phrase, Kenneth Wapnick, it says everyone, actually it was from the Course in Miracles, and I love that phrase. Everyone here, be kind to everyone you meet, is fighting a hard battle. And that always stuck in my head. I said, oh my God. And we do, this is a battle. Just living life here is a battle. But it's all how you live it to survive the battle, get beyond the battle, and find that peace. And once you reach that peace, that's when I really believe that you're going to be, this won't even exist anymore. It's where you need to go. And if that makes any sense, it's all in the mind. It's not the body. That's what I believe. And I'm learning that more and more, how from just being there and I wasn't in the body, it just confirms that we are in the mind. It's all about the spirit, the soul. It's not the brain, but it's beyond that. It's so amazing.
It is. And I kind of correlated to what I was trying to express that I may have rambled a little bit. Do you remember that screenshot I sent you from that woman that messaged me? I sent it to you maybe a month or two ago. It was so.
Yes, refresh my memory.
Yeah, I'll refresh everyone's memory that may or may not know the story. So it was one of the nights I slept next to you in the hospital bed. I was in the chair next to you, stayed for a night or two. And I went, Jacqueline and the girls, and I forget who came to like relieve me, but someone took the hospital. I went home to shower and get some sleep. And I got a message from Jacqueline. I want to pull up the thing, actually. Got a message from Jacqueline, and this is maybe like a few days after the event, so you were still like collecting yourself. She texted me and said, Mom remembers seeing Dad. Like you had some kind of recollection in the hospital of like, the story you just explained. You brought up seeing Dad.
Oh, wow.
And this was actually after a whole nother story where the night before or the day before that, you woke up, it was just you and me in the morning, and you said, where's David? So let me go back to this story real quick. You said, where's David? I'm like, I'm David. What do you mean? You look at me like, no, where's Dad? I'm like, Dad. I'm like, oh, shit. She thinks my dad's still alive. So it was like similar to the experience where you thought Grandpa John was alive. Now it was a couple of days later. Now it's just me at this point, and you think Dad's still alive, and I had to kind of go through the same process. It was kind of going back and forth. Like, do I just say, because I didn't know you were going to forget all this, so do I just like, he'll be here. I don't want to do that either. I was going to, whether I made the right decision or not, I don't know. But I had to do the same process of saying, Ma, do you remember September 11th? And you look at me and you go, yeah, of course, but he got out. I'm like, oh, shit.
Wow.
I said, Ma, like he didn't get out. And you're like, what do you mean? And little by little, I just kind of paced myself. Wasn't be like, hey, no, he's dead. Deal with it. I got to like go little by little. And then you started like, oh my God, like of course. And you started again. It was just you and me in the morning, just like hysterically crying again, re-grieving as if you just found out your husband just died. And I had to watch, and like besides me being hurt just to see you feel that, I was like, oh my God, I have to witness my mom. This is what, and it was weird because I was so young during 9/11, so I remember things, but it was like a weird reopening of now I get to see my mom re-grieve again almost for the first time. And again, slowly but surely, you started remembering things, but then forgetting, because your memory was like Dory from Finding Nemo. You would forget every 2 seconds, which was scary at first, but now you're great. And then so 2 seconds later, you'd be like, you forget again that I just told you that. I have to explain it again, and then watch you hysterically
I had
cry
dementia.
again. So you don't have dementia, but at first it was a little. Again, it was just like, let's see what happens. You're fresh out of this, but to watch you re-grieve multiple times that your parents, your dad was just a lot. And then either that day or the next day, that's when I went home to sleep. Got a text from Jack and says, "You remember seeing Dad?" And at that time, this is an interesting story, which some of you may have heard because I shared it. That was around 12 o'clock, give or take. And then I was home showering, and Jacqueline says that. And then around the same time, I checked a message I got from Amber, who's been on the podcast. She's a medium. She had a near-death experience. And she messaged me around this. I can confirm the times on the same. It was like around 12 o'clock. So Jacqueline's text message saying she remembers seeing Dad. Get a text from Amber on Instagram saying, "Hey, just sending you love and light." That's all she said. She was just thinking of. She, for some reason, just messaged me because I posted on Instagram saying, "Hey, we're going through some things. I'm not going to post." So she knew something was happening. And I responded to her. I was like, "That's kind of weird. I'm getting a message randomly from her right when Jacqueline texted me that you remembered Dad." And then Amber says to me, I said, "That's weird. You just messaged me." I said to her, "It's weird you just messaged me because my mom just said she remembers seeing my dad." And this is what Amber said to me. She goes, "That's crazy because your dad just bugged me and said, can you tell her the thing she needs to take care of is herself? She's not very good at it and is always worried about everyone else. She's been given the gift of time to learn how to love herself just as much as she loves other people." And he said, even though he loves her, he does not want her to join him anytime soon. And he wants you to say those words to her exactly like he said them. And besides that just being powerful in itself, and you could take any path you want, what you believe. But again, what she said was what I was trying to explain. And she says it way more elegantly, but that, like, love yourself, and not that you don't, but like look after you. Like, you know what I mean? Like, exactly what she said is what we were all talking about. Like, maybe this should come out and she'll feel that. And then she said that in a better way that I can explain it. At the same time that you remembered seeing Dad, it was like, at what point do you guys need to see? We need to see the court of law and the jury saying, "Here's the document." It's like this is. It all just aligned. It was so powerful. And then you and me had the discussion of, like, why, what's this, what's that? Maybe that's a part of it. You know what I mean? Maybe it's for you, and less not just about us, because you've been serving us for my entire life. It's like maybe
That's
there's many
probably
reasons, but
having that dream a year ago, where Dad came so vividly in my dream. I had told Ken about that. I woke up crying. It was just so real. Like, literally, it was so real, and his eyes were, and he was telling me, do you remember what I told you? And in that dream, I'm going, I told me. I says, well, why did, I forget what else he said, because I remember saying, like, we couldn't go back. We couldn't go back. And I was thinking of when the buildings collapsed. I said, we couldn't go back. And he goes, but do you remember what I told you? And I woke up then, I couldn't remember what he told me. But now, when you had mentioned this, I'm wondering if that's what he meant. Because he was so adamant about, do you remember what I told you? And I'm thinking, what did he tell me? How could I remember that? Until after the fact that the dream was so, that was the most powerful dream after my incident. It was like almost a year later, not even. We had just come back from Florida, him and I, and it was just it was so powerful. I remember waking up. I was literally, and I didn't want to blink because I felt like because then I knew I was waking up, and I felt myself, I'm gonna go. I know I'm gonna wake up now. He's gonna disappear, and that's exactly what happened. I remember waking up crying, and I've never had a dream like that. That he was so real, like I'm looking at you right now. It was just, and all I did was focus on his eyes because I knew if I blinked, I'm going to wake up and it's going to be gone. So I just needed to know what it was that he told me I couldn't remember.
yeah, I remember
But that blew me away. That really blew me away.
But you brought that up to me. I know you mentioned it a couple of times. The last time I was home, we had that discussion.
Yeah,
I
was telling you about that.
And in the moment, I didn't think about this. And I'm not saying like, how we ever.
No, I know. It's just weird. You kind of say, well, you know what?
Yeah.
But it is, and you're right, and he's right, and the spirits are right. It's just, you have to think about loving yourself because you have to love yourself. You do. You really do. Because we're all as one if you believe in any kind of faith in any way, and I believe that we all are connected. So we are connected as one, and if you want to call it the universe, and we are all just one, and we're just gonna move on from there.
It's all going to be okay,
Oh yeah, everything's gonna be okay, no matter which way you look at it.
even when it's not.
Right. But the thing is, you can't focus on the negativity. You look at it, you know you got to get through it, but don't attach yourself to it.
Yeah,
Just do the best you can to move forward.
It's that attachment sometimes.
Yeah,
It's
it's the
so easy to get
attachment,
attached
and that's
to
when you hang on to
attachment.
the past. You hang on to the. You gotta let it go. It's not even there anymore, and that's the hardest thing to do for all of us to do. But I'm learning. I'm seeing that more and more. That it's not as hard as we think it is. It's just doing it. Just do it. That's why I like that thing. Just do it.
Yeah, let's get you a tattoo on your chest.
Yeah.
But again, it goes back to these things. Whenever you hear these stories and your experiences, of course, you can, the logical brain, start thinking this. Yeah, but we're never going to get a direct answer. It's kind of putting pieces together and giving it your own meaning. And if you find peace, great. But when you're saying, "What did he tell you?" It's like the way she ended this. He wants you to say those words to her exactly like he said them. And this message is, I don't know how else to, like, what else do you do with that besides just at least contemplate and think about it? And, I feel like after an experience that you went through that I have no understanding experientially except through you and people I've had on the podcast, I'm sure it adds a little bit of like a pressure because, okay, I had this experience and why me?
No,
now
I
what
don't-
do I do with
Yeah.
it? But it's like
Yeah.
sometimes you just got to exist. What else beyond that?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you've spoke to, and Ken forget, he's always into that near-death experience. He's watched a lot of those, and you learn a lot from that. I mean, my experience was nowhere near some of those. I mean, mine was just like a little clip, but it was still an amazing short visit. It was just, and some of those people that's why it's really so much beyond this, and it is. You have to love yourself. You really do. I see that more and more, And Ken always says all the time, you got to take care of you. Just think of you. Find the peace within you, and just be in the now. And that's what I practice almost every day now. And and you don't even have to do and say anything to people. It's going to be your energy, whatever you display. You don't have to. It's not the things you do or what you say. It's how you demonstrate. I remember those words. It's how you demonstrate that the love and spirit lives within you, and you take it from there and you go with it like you're riding the waves. I don't know.
No, it makes
We
sense.
can get very deep, and we'll be here all day. So
Yeah, we don't have enough alcohol.
we
either.
gotta cut it short here.
Yeah, but I do. But what does that mean to you? So, like, when Ken says that to you, or I say that to you,
No, it connects to me. It's not something, I know I got to do that. It's not one of those. When you hear those words, you're reminded, and it's constant. Like, yes, I know. You just know.
But do you feel that? Do you feel like literally it's a love for yourself that you don't give yourself?
I understand that I could because I put myself down a lot. Oh, I should have, would have, and I got to stop using those words. That's just the way it is. I have to think of it. It's just let it go. Just the way it is.
It's like just a way of being
And
hard.
anything, yeah, being hard. I shouldn't be so hard on myself. Trying to do everything, I have to think about me.
Yeah, I mean,
mean,
I'm not going to go all Freudian on you. I'm curious what you think, but you came from a household where you were, from all the stories I've heard, you've had to handle a lot of shit. Like even like when you where didn't you have to? You were kind of
growing up.
Growing up, and even like throughout your life, you always,
because I grew up with a real Italian family, and of course the big guy we called my grandfather was like the Godfather.
No.
Yeah. And I resonated towards him a lot because with him I found there was more order, and I liked the fact that because there was always so much chaos, but with his way of thinking, even though it was too old fashioned, but just the gist of what I'm saying is just how he deals with things. He had to put things, and by being that way, I'm putting things in control, and it's in order, and I think that's where
and when
had
something
my-
doesn't go your way, it's like
I have to control it. I got to make sure everything goes right, and if it doesn't, I'm going to fix it. I always got to try to fix things, and just make it go right. It's just got to be okay. I don't know. I remember Ken was funny with one saying, and it just blew me away. He goes, every time the kids throw something at you, it's like you're dropping. How do you say? You throw it, and before it gets to the floor, you have to go there and catch it. You always have to catch it before it hits the ground. He had great analogies.
real.
I tell you, and he's been a blessing. You can't imagine what a blessing. And I really, till this day, believe that Daddy brought him into my life. But with those
I'll
words,
put a pin in that because I
Get a pin in
I have,
that, yes.
I have something to say about that. It's true.
and it's like, oh my God. And I said, that's what I'm doing. If it wasn't for what he said to me about you, and he says, you never give him a chance to talk. You don't give him a chance to, I forget how he said it. You have to refresh my memory on that
I mean, he's
one.
right there.
Yeah.
Like, whenever.
Let me go get him. You know?
Should we text him? Like, what?
Yeah. No, early on, she wants to fix everything all the time.
Yeah,
A-
yeah.
Anyone in the family's problems and everything like that. So sometimes you would call up, and she's projecting what you're going to talk about, but she's not letting you talk. And then you would shut down after a while. You know, she
did.
meant well,
Of course.
but she didn't hear you out. And eventually I just said, look, just let them talk and everything. Just let them tell their story.
Well,
And
with
all
those
before
words
you
from that
comment.
point on, I did that. And I was shocked to see the results. I was like, holy effing shit. That was like, how did he do that? And once I started doing that with you, because you were going through a tough age, everybody, teenagers going through, I was like, oh my God. And the more I did that, the more you spoke, the more you expressed yourself, the more you were talking to me, where I couldn't get answers from you, and because I was always trying to figure out the answers before you even asked me. It was just silly. But yeah, but that was one of the most profound moments. That just like, wow, he really helped me help you, but help me.
Sure.
And that goes on a lot in the last 21 years. We've been going through a lot of that. But yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny because I've had several mediums on the show, and again, regardless if everyone believes, I've said that a million times. Like I've had several, and I'm like, yeah, there's this guy that your mom's been with. Yeah, it seems like your dad sent him here. I'm like, I've heard that so many times. So how many more times can we hear it for it to not be like it makes sense?
Oh, yeah.
Because we've had the discussions about
How we met.
because Ken has he's obviously very smart, but he's a deeper
Analytical, very deep. He's very
Ken
deep.
can go very deep in the most beautiful of ways. That's why we align in so many conversations and this, that, and the other. And I remember you said one time, years ago, you talked to Dad, your dad didn't really have that same depth in many ways from how I think you said to me one time.
Yeah.
So it's like, it makes sense that you would kind of get that from Ken and why Ken is the way he is and why it fits.
That's
you
why
know what I mean? It's like,
but that's why he pushed you out there and me run into him.
Yes,
I swear, every time I hear that story, people say, how'd you meet? He literally jumped out. And I was like, he goes, are you Italian? I go, yeah. I says, I'm very thirsty right now, so if you want to meet me, go to the bar, because I'm dying. I was dying of thirst. But it was just so funny. That's why, till that day, I always said, he definitely brought him to me.
yeah, and I think that's sometimes
It's weird.
it's
I mean, you could believe it or not. It's just a matter of it's just sometimes things fall into place. And that makes sense. That could be
even if you
possible.
leave that
Yeah.
incentive
I
part
mean,
out,
you don't
like
have to.
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
This is what
exactly.
it works.
Yeah,
And,
exactly.
I just sometimes think that's how it works. Sometimes like this life just kind of it talks to you in these ways.
Sometimes it
where
doesn't work
it's
and
just
you-
things
yeah.
but it's an allowing. Like I've always thought this way, and I read it recently. It's like we create this resistance of the way things work, and it's like when you really want something, when you really go after something, that's actually doing like the negative effect. But it's not going after a certain experience. It's kind of it's an allowing. It's just I see it as like the way I try to live. When you talked about attachment, it's like we're constantly fists. For anyone not watching on YouTube, it's like we're holding on to things so tight, and that's like the resistance. And then when you squeeze something, everything tenses up. It's like sometimes I just feel like you just put something. It's like keep your palm open. It's like you have it. It's with us, and then keep your palm open and allow things to land in your palm. Allow things to fly away even when you don't want them to fly away.
Because you
And-
can't
and then
control it.
that'll come back, this, that, and the other. It's kind of just like an open palm situation, if that makes any sense at all. It's just an allowing of everything, the good, the bad, the heart, like all that stuff. I just truly feel it's okay.
Throw it out there.
It's
Just like
it's
Ken,
okay.
another phrase. What you resist persists.
That's the better. Again, you guys explain
Right.
things way better than me.
You should write a book. I'm telling you.
Yeah, he will. He's got it. Come on.
Exactly.
So ultimately,
But that's
I mean,
so true.
How do you? Now it's been what, 2 years? Over 2 years.
Yeah.
It was 2023. How do you digest this experience now? Where are you at now?
Much better. Much better. How do I? Well, I changed a lot of ways of looking at things. Now I just focus on, really work hard on just being here in the moment, just letting it go, and But, I spoke to people. I actually see this woman that I enjoy being with. She's a homeopathic, and she not only so much physical health that she puts you, gives you at the perspective of how you look at life and how negativity, we all have it. It's just a matter of how you look at it. Just let it go and just focus on here and now. And it's a continuation of what he does anyway, but it's like, it's really the same. It's really, everything is the same content. And that's really it. Just be here now. It's all that matters. Embrace yourself with the love that surrounds you. I mean, that I feel. I feel love all around me. And just embrace it. Sometimes people don't. They go, but if you have to stop, sometimes you got to go, don't you see it? It's right here. But anyway, that's how I felt with my brother Carl. I'm sure if Carl was watching this, he'd know what I'm talking about. But, yeah. But right now, I'm in a good place. I'm in a good place. I mean, there's always, up and, I always fall off track, and I go, no, get right back on there. You fall off the wagon, get back on the wagon, one of those. But it's all good now.
Well, I hope so, Ma. It's...
Take one day at a time. And if I'm going to go one day, at least now you know what to expect. I'm going to be up there laughing, saying, don't worry, I'm all right.
we're going to throw you over the Verrazano Bridge, you said, so I think that's part of it.
That's right. My ashes are going over the Verrazano Bridge.
Throw you right over there.
Over the Verrazano Bridge.
But at the same time, I know I've said this to you, it's like, if you and me go out to eat, and I remember one specific time, someone, they gave you, the wrong dish. And to me, it's like, it bothered me. I was like, no, let's get you the right dish. And you're not making a big deal. No, I want you to have the right pasta. The whole point is, more than my happiness.
I should have let it go.
No. I mean, that's a whole nother, that's your meaning. I'm trying to explain, it was more than my happiness, I want your happiness. And I know you're the mother, and I get that without having kids. But I feel like at some point, the baton gets switched. I'm a grown man now, and I know you've always looked after me. It's a pendulum a little bit, where at some point,
I know.
You know what I mean?
I've been told already,
yes.
Yes.
I'm good. Gina and Jacqueline are good. Everyone's good. But at the same time, I just want you, instead of seeking, allow. Just allow the goodness. Instead of what is my answer? Why don't you just say, I'm going to allow all this peace. I'm going to allow this because I can't think of anyone that deserves it more than you. And on and off the mic, but on and off the mic, I'm going to say this to you. So I don't care who's listening right now. It's just know that you deserve it. You deserve to love yourself. You have nothing but I can't. There's not enough adjectives for me to describe what you've done for all of us, who you are, and what you mean. Now, I just want you to understand that for yourself.
Yeah, I cringe when you say that.
Why see that?
And you say that, right?
That's what I'm saying. Don't cringe.
I don't know why. It's like. I don't like the word you deserve because I feel like we all deserve. I'm not just don't put me on a pedestal because I'm not.
No, I'm putting you on a pedestal, but I understand you don't have to see yourself on a pedestal.
I know it's like I'm just doing what I feel like I'm doing. I don't feel like I'm. I just don't like to be praised. That's the problem. I just don't like that.
I understand that because I was like that for a while. It was similar for me. People give me a compliment, I'd make a stupid joke.
No, now I'll say thank you. Yeah, you're right. I know, accept it. And that's. I guess I'm not completely. I guess I'm still working on it.
We're all working on everything.
No, but I thought I was better, but I guess I'm not. But no, it's a life. Yeah, it's true though. And then thank you. And those words were very touching, and I'll probably cry on the way home, but that's fine.
That's fine. You got a ferry. But even when you said, you said something we all deserve. Okay, so
we do.
It includes you. So
yeah,
you're right. You do.
I have to look at it that way. Yeah.
I mean, don't negate your deservedness because everyone just deserves it. But if everyone deserves it, then you deserve it by your theory. So it's like
I didn't look at it that way.
I don't know.
That's just my nature of growing up. I guess I don't know where that came from.
Who knows? There's a rabbit hole we can go down, which we have some thoughts.
I'm tired of going down that rabbit hole.
That rabbit hole isn't always necessary. Sometimes it's okay, I'm sure it's good to know certain information, but at what point can you just dissect it over and just understand what you want to be, this, that, and just work on without knowing the why sometimes and adding to the stories. I think there's a benefit to understanding, getting the answer, sure, but at some point it's okay, how do I feel? Can we just let the emotion be an emotion without trying to attach a story to it constantly?
Yes.
Even though there's benefits, I can see, the yin and yang of that.
I can see what you mean,
but sometimes it's okay, why do I feel? Instead of saying, why do I feel? Okay, I feel this. Let's let that be, and then just move on to the next emotion, if that makes sense.
That's it. No, it does. It does. That's exactly what
I have no idea what I'm talking about.
I'm saying, no, we're making a lot of sense. No, but it's true. That's so true. So you just got to ride the waves. Don't, attach yourself to anything that's not good. And just Embrace it. Just embrace it with love. That's it.
Yeah, if any of us, including Ken and our families, like if we weren't more grateful to have had you all this time after that experience, I didn't think it was possible to have a new appreciation.
Yeah.
I didn't think there was another level to it
Yeah.
of appreciating you in my life and for everyone's life.
Yeah.
But somehow that experience not only changed you, it definitely shifted a different appreciation.
Yeah.
Which again, I didn't know that. I didn't know there was another level to having you in my
Just
life, and there is now.
gratitude. Yeah, just giving gratitude. I give gratitude that I had the opportunity to be here again with everyone. So that's it. It's always giving thanks over
Well,
and
I'm
over.
proud of you. I love you.
Thank you. I love you
Ken,
too.
thank you for taking the time to share your story. I know that's a big deal for
It was.
for
It is.
not only you,
Yeah.
but for me to hear it as well, because I can't tell you how grateful I am for you, not just for that moment, for everything you've been a part of. And I'm happy to finally get you on here at least a little bit, and then we'll see if we can get you on longer another time. But thank you, Ma. Love you.
Love you too. Thank you, David.
I'm
Thank
sure
you,
everyone's
Ken.
gonna be excited to see you on here again. All right, give me a hug.
Okay. There's no miss. Avec Yai.
Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Dead Talks. Please do not forget to hit the subscribe button and also the notification bell. That'll give you updates as to when we post a new video, more episodes, and more content in general. We are streaming on all the major podcast platforms, including Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Pandora, and all that. And also find us on Instagram at Dead Talks Podcast or www.deadtalks.net. Thank you so much.